The Wood brothers may have pulled off the fastest rebuild in professional sports history. Oh my gosh, I just realized how ridiculous this looks. It's my wife's Stanley Cup. It was the only clean dish we had left, and I'm thirsty. This looks ridiculous, but I'm going to leave it in because that's kind of hilarious. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. How about a first-time winner just 5 weeks into the new season? Raise your hand if you thought the 21 car was going to be the first Ford to find victory lane in the NASCAR Cup Series this season. Raise your hand if you thought the 21 car was going to win a race, period. The Wood brothers back to the playoffs. I should put my hand down because I did not see this coming. I figured they'd be better than they've been overall the past couple of seasons, but not this good and certainly not this quickly. We'll start there. We'll start with Josh Berry. Plenty of other stories we will cover from today's Las Vegas Motor Speedway showdown, but let's start with the race winner. Josh Berry gets the Wood brothers, NASCAR's oldest team, their 101st Cup Series victory. I shouldn't be as shocked as I am, considering Josh Berry is a two-time Las Vegas winner in the Xfinity Series, and considering he was an honorable mention last week after he started fourth and finished fourth at Phoenix, despite pit road problems knocking him back to 30th. 30th to 4th at Phoenix? We haven't seen that from the Wood brothers in years, maybe not since a young Ryan Blaney drove that car. And considering how good Team Penske typically performs at Spring Vegas, today shouldn't be a surprise, but it just goes to show how low, how deep in the gutter the Wood brothers have been. And I say that with all due respect to the team's history, longevity, decades of great success. The last 3 years with Harrison Burton were a huge step backwards for this program. They went from being a playoff team in 2020 with Matt DiBenedetto to 27th in points in 2022, 31st in 2023, and they were on pace to be 34th, 35th in 2024 before they broke through and won Daytona in the summer. Got the bump at the right place at the right time, but outside of that one Saturday night, this team has been irrelevant for 3 years. And they've been a Team Penske affiliate this whole time. They just did not have the right driver behind the wheel, and maybe they never had the right crew chief on the pit box. Maybe they didn't have the right engineers in the right place. They shuffled the deck this offseason, brought in 34-year-old Josh Berry. Miles Stanley steps into the crew chief role, and poof, this looks like a completely different team. They already have a stage win this year, led over 50 laps at Atlanta, top 5 at Phoenix, victory lane at Las Vegas. Gosh, in just 5 races, they've already led more laps this year than the last 3 years combined. Same number of wins, same number of top 5s. It's crazy. What a swing. And for it to happen so suddenly, Josh Berry, Miles Stanley deserve a ton of the credit. Give Harrison Burton some credit as well. Winning at Daytona race last summer, making the playoffs, was a $2 to $3 million point swing. Money buys speed, they say. I don't know exactly where that money went, but the point is this was always a Team Penske team. The 3 years with Harrison Burton, this car was still prepared in the Team Penske shop. So I'm not sure that anything really changed on the back end. It's just different people now leading the ship. Josh Berry, Miles Stanley deserve a ton of credit for turning this ship around in near record time. Josh Berry is a great success story. He has won at every level. He's a short track champion. He's a Cars Tour champion. Dale Earnhardt Jr. saw his talent at an early age, believed in him, nurtured him, supported his career for years, eventually got him his big break in the Xfinity Series, where immediately he wins races in 2022, wins races in 2023, gets to the Cup Series, unfortunately with a dying Stewart-Haas racing team, lands on his feet with the Wood brothers, and is already making this opportunity count. Josh Berry is an old school, blue-collar, talented race car driver who has earned his opportunities largely based on merit. He's a winner, and now he's brought that winning ability to the top level of stock car racing. Congratulations to Josh Berry, the Wood brothers. What a turnaround for this historic NASCAR Cup Series race team. And real quick, before I move on, I can already see the comments. I don't want folks to hop aboard the Harrison Burton hate train. The dude is doing just fine for himself in the Xfinity Series. Jumped into a car that was last in points much of last season and is currently, I think, 13th early this year. Running pretty well. He's won Xfinity Series races before, but no one can deny he was rushed to the Cup Series before he was really ready. That doesn't excuse the lack of progression overall the past couple of seasons, but it's just worth mentioning. Harrison's a good dude, young dude still, and I think he is a quality race car driver. Maybe it was the next gen car, maybe it was working with Jeremy Bullins even last year. They just couldn't find the magic combination. I mean, look at where Jeremy Bullins is now with RFK Racing. Brad Keselowski off to a slow start. I'm not trying to pin the Six's slow start all on the crew chief. I'm just looking for trends. Right now, Harrison Burton has AM Racing trending in a positive direction once again. So hop off the Harrison hate train, if you will. Let's get to some other notable storylines. Here's a look at your top finishers from today's race. Runner-up, Daniel Suarez. Boy, did he need a good day. Was running top 10 at Coda when he spun out and crashed. Was running top 10 at Phoenix when he got caught up in the Catherine Legg incident. I think he had a top 10 car today. Aggressive fuel strategy late. I think the caution with 25 laps to go helped. Great pit stop from his crew, got him the lead, just didn't quite have enough to hold off Josh Berry. But still, second place for Daniel Suarez stops the bleeding, at least for this week, and jumps him into the top 20 in the regular season standings. He beats out his Trackhouse teammate Ross Chastain, who still scores a solid top 5 finish. It was a rough day for their third teammate Shane Van Gisbergen, who spun out early and then battled tire issues the rest of the afternoon. Ryan Preece finishes third, his best finish since joining RFK Racing. How about that podium? Berry, Suarez, Preece. Wouldn't have guessed we were at Las Vegas Motor Speedway looking at those results, frankly. Fourth for William Byron. I was asking myself this question late in the race. Who had the best car today? Was it Kyle Larson, who earned more stage points than anyone, won stage 2? Maybe, but William Byron had the better finish, got through traffic better at the end, and he scored the 4th most stage points. Fun fact, I believe William Byron is the only Cup Series driver to lead laps in all 5 races this year. So maybe it was William Byron. What about Austin Cindric there in 6th? Was on cruise control the opening stage, great qualifying effort, led laps, got the first stage win, but an issue on pit road, a loose wheel, pinned him back in traffic. He still recovered for a great finish. What about Ryan Blaney? I don't think he led any laps today, but he passed more cars than anyone. That's an unofficial stat. It's just what my eyes told me. Started at the rear, had a lot to overcome today, and was just in the wrong place, wrong time in a late restart. 4 wide, Christopher Bell on the very inside, not giving much room. Blaney comes up, and hooks himself across the 4 and the 23. Kind of like the restart incident at Phoenix, where it was the 54 sort of coming up, but not actually initiating the contact. Kind of the same case here. The 20 comes up a little, makes things uncomfortable, but it's the 12 and the 4 that actually made either way, wrong place, wrong time. But Ryan Blaney had a really good car, passed a lot of competitors. So getting back on track, who had the best car today? I honestly don't know, but William Byron, Austin Cindric, and Kyle Larson, who still scored a top 10, certainly were in the mix. I feel like that's an important question to ask because Las Vegas Motor Speedway is the first conventional intermediate oval of the season. We race at a lot of tracks this year similar to Las Vegas, so if you're good today, chances are you'll be good at numerous other tracks, especially early this season. So many consider this a litmus test who the best teams early in the season are going to be. A couple of Hendrick cars, a couple of Penske cars, obviously, with who won this race. Joe Gibbs Racing, have not mentioned really any of their drivers yet. Joe Gibbs Racing was surprisingly off on all fronts this afternoon. In just the first 80 laps, Denny Hamlin sped on pit road, fell a lap down. Chase Briscoe's team left a wheel loose, went multiple laps down, suspensions incoming. Ty Gibbs was the slowest car on the track, 32nd a lap down. And Christopher Bell, whose team had to replace parts overnight, had to start at the rear and wasn't making as much progress as guys like Blaney were. That was just in the opening stage. When it's all said and done, not a single Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota finished inside the top 10. Bell, looking to win his 4th straight Cup Series race, finished 12th. That was their best result. And even the 20 team was far from clean this afternoon. I mentioned the 4-wide incident he was partially to blame for. On pit road, his team left a wheel loose, they caught it, and heads up driving from Bell, heads up from the crew chief, the spotter, he pulled into his teammate Chase Briscoe's pit box. Briscoe was off the lead lap, not pitting, and one of the Bass Pro Crew guys went up and tightened the lug nut for him. Pitting outside his box, that's still a penalty, but it's a lesser penalty than if he'd gone on track and the wheel had fallen off. Bad situation, but Christopher Bell's heads-up awareness kept a bad situation from being any worse. So that was really interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that before, where a driver was pit by 2 different pit crews in 2 different pit boxes on a single trip down pit road. I don't think I've ever seen, I'm sure something similar has been done. NASCAR's been around a long, long time, but I can't remember ever seeing it. So I'll at least give them credit for that. And I'll give Chase Briscoe's team some credit. They were at least 2 or 3 laps down at one point in this race, caught the cautions at the right time, had enough speed. They got back on the lead lap and finished 17th. I mean, could have been a lot worse. And Denny Hamlin may have scored a top 10 today, but that final caution came out just after he'd made his final pit stop. He was trapped a lap down, had to take the wave round, lost all his track position. Okay, there's the contact. Still a bad day for Joe Gibbs Racing all around. Disappointing at the very least. Real quick, I do want to give a shout out to AJ Allmendinger. Top 10 finish for Colleague Racing. That's huge. That's extremely impressive. And we're heading to Homestead Miami Speedway next week. Historically, that's been AJ's best intermediate track probably. Could we see back-to-back top 10s for Colleague? On the heels of the run Ty Dillon put together at Phoenix, thanks in part to the option tire, he almost had a top 5. Colleague Racing, some small victories early in the season. A couple other mentions. Bubba Wallace, fun fact, scored the 2nd most stage points of anyone today, but was caught up in that one big restart wreck, got some damage, finished 28th, I believe. I also want to mention some more of the pit road issues. Kyle Busch, looking for his 4th top 10 finish of the year, seemed to have good speed, but wheel fell off on a restart, got damaged, never recovered. There was also a weird back and forth on pit road between Carson Hocevar and Ty Gibbs, where Carson Hocevar at one point was blocked in by Gibbs, cost him a top 10 running position. The next time down pit road, Hocevar's team tried 2 tires, which caused them to come out as Gibbs was coming in. They kind of T-boned, damaged the 77, effectively ended their day. He finished 30th. Carson Hocevar has a lot of speed early this year. I think he once again had a shot at a top 10 tonight before those pit road issues. Lot of speed, but you look at the results the first 5 weeks of the year, he's got 1 top 10 finish. Just 1, and it was that 2nd at Atlanta. Very impressive run, almost won that race, fair enough. But like Phoenix could have been so much more. Bad pit stop resulted in a crash. Las Vegas could have been so much more, but bad execution again on pit road, or bad timing. Maybe it's all bad luck. I think there's some execution involved as well. It's just young driver, young team, still working things out. A lot of speed from Hocevar to start the year. Not a lot of results to show for it, unfortunately. You know, his teammate, Michael McDowell, won the pole for this race. I think I showed earlier, Justin Haley scored a top 15 finish. So you want to take advantage of the speed when you have it, because things ebb and flow in this sport all the time. So that's all. That's the only reason I'm a little disappointed in the results for Hocevar early this year, because like he could be the next Josh Berry. Shown some flashes. We all respect his ability, but nobody really expects him to win a race this soon. But if Josh Berry can do it, I think Carson Hocevar is talented enough to do something similar at some point. That team's got speed. Would hate to see them waste this early season speed. Anyway, for now, let's put this race on the Groovy Gauge, powered by Electric E-Bikes. Head to electricebikes.com to find a ride that suits you. Was Las Vegas Motor Speedway an enjoyable race to watch? Mostly. Yeah, I think so. It was a decent race. Did not have that close nail-biter of a finish, though it was exciting to see if Josh Berry could get his first career win. And if something happened to him, Daniel Suarez winning would have been a hell of a story on its own. Ryan Preece not too far behind in 3rd would have been a story. Like, there were a lot of great stories up front late, but the actual quality of racing today was just okay. A lot of arrow push in the corners, exploiting this car's shortcomings. Not great in traffic. That's why I highlighted Ryan Blaney. He seemed to be one of the few who could consistently carve his way through the pack. A lot of the pit crews must have been out late on the strip because they were not sharp today. A lot of mistakes. Pretty good race. Didn't blow me away, but I enjoyed it. 65%, certainly well above average, if you ask me. Let me know down in the comments today if you enjoyed today's Pennzoil 400. I'm trying to think if there were a few other drivers I wanted to spotlight. Speaking of Pennzoil 400, Joey Logano, kind of a no-show today. Qualified second? Yeah, qualified on the front row. The second place starter has won 3 of the last 4 Vegas races, coming into today at least. I guess now it's 3 of the last 5. But Logano led laps early, but as soon as he got in dirty air, he just sort of faded and faded and faded. He only earned 4 stage points and had to employ aggressive fuel strategy once again to regain some of that track position, and it would have worked. It probably would have worked if the team didn't choke on the final pit stop. I didn't see exactly what happened, but they lost 20 spots. Went from battling for the lead potentially with 25 laps to go to outside of the top 15. Finished 15th ultimately, but that was one name today that I thought would be a little more competitive considering how good Cindric looked early, how well Blaney could maneuver traffic, the fact that Barry won. Did not expect Joey Logano to be at best maybe a 9th place car. That's probably selling him short. Maybe he had a top 5 car. It's hard to say. He was only in the top 5 late because of tire strategy and fuel strategy, but maybe he was okay. It's hard to say. Brad Keselowski, another guy I want to mention real quick. We are 5 races into the year, 0 top 10s. This guy made the playoffs last year, won a race, but struggling out the gate so far. And some of it's bad luck, like Phoenix, caught up in a wreck. Today he finished 11th. It's not like he had a bad day, just didn't quite crack the top 10. He moved up from 33rd to 30th in the driver points, but when you're 30th in points even this early in the season, 11th place days aren't going to cut it. Need some top 5s, likely need a win at some point. Mile and a half. Again, this is important sort of baseline. If you ran good today, had a good car, I expect a solid spring. If you're out to lunch, could be a long day at Homestead next weekend, for example. Texas and Kansas and Charlotte coming up. None of these tracks are exact one-to-one copies, but they're all similar. Typically, Las Vegas Motor Speedway shows who the strongest teams early in the season are going to be. A lot of surprising names up front late this evening, which kind of changing my whole perspective on how the start of this season may go. We'll leave it there, I think. Let me know down in the comments below how your favorite driver performed today, what your outlook is for the rest of the 2025 season. Leave a like while you're down there if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe for more NASCAR race reactions, news, rumors, commentary, and more all year. Big thank you to my generous Patreon supporters as well. From out west to the east, NASCAR heads to Homestead Miami Speedway in 1 week. Lots to talk about between now and next Sunday. We'll cover everything here on Out of the Groove. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend and a wonderful start to the new week. Thanks for watching, folks.